welcome to the first edition of Flashback. I am your host, Alexavia Heaney, alongside
Tyler Corvus. Hello.
And we're going to be bringing you up to date on this week's happening around VAW's Tuesday Night Elite and Thursday Night Turbulence.
Yes, Turbulence, the show I work in. Woo!
Well then, as we know, Jay beat Damien Hex to become Intercontinental Champion. Michael defeated Wrath for the number one contendership. However, Jay didn't agree with that decision and came out to let Michael know. Michael then turned around and issued a challenge to Jay, stating that he would put his number one contendership on the line up against Jay's Intercontinental title. And if you know Jay at all, you know Jay doesn't back down from a challenge and gladly accepted.
Well, of course, Jay never does back down from a challenge, but you gotta remember, he's ran away from some of them too.
Well, yes, that may be true. However, Jay reversed Michael's finisher with a Shock Frost DDT to win not only the number one contender spot, but he also retained his Intercontinental title, and he will go on to face VAW champion Juggalo Tremor at Undisputed 2.
Wait a second. So that means it's going to be a champion versus champion match? That means it's going to be the Intercontinental champion, who is J. Alexander Frost, versus the world champion Juggalo Tremor for the world championship? Are you kidding me?
That would be correct, Tyler. And now on to the main event of VAW Elite. You saw Vince Aftermath versus Dixie Hex. As you know, Dixie came out last week and issued a challenge of her own to Vince, stating that Vince would have to fight her husband, Scott Hex, at Undisputed 2. Well, Vince decided to turn around and inform Dixie the only way that he would fight Scott was if Dixie fought him this week in a no disqualification match. Dixie gladly accepted. Dixie pretty much had the upper hand. She was accompanied to the ring by Wrath. It ended up that Hex, her son, came out of nowhere and attacked Vince, which allowed Dixie to pin Vince easily 1, 2, 3. So now you're going to see Vince Aftermath versus Scott Hex at Undisputed 2.
Which I just want to put in there that, wow, that was a good match. I mean, Dixie versus Vince. I mean, I could see how that would have problems, but Dixie just kicked Vince's ass. It was great. And now we bring you VAW Turbulence. Man, Turbulence is such an awesome show, and I wanted to say that it's a great show to work in because during Turbulence this week, I had a match versus Sean Hex. Now, a lot of people say that, like, Sean Hex is a bad wrestler and stuff like that, but hey, I worked with a guy, I mean, he was fun to work with, but what happened during that match, I didn't really expect anything. I mean, Sinister came out. I don't know why Sinister came out, but so when Sinister came out, I tried to get the pin on Sean, that didn't work, but then I went to go do my move, which was called the Liberty Bell, but Sean countered it, which sucks, and I lost the match, which also sucks.
It seems as though you and Sean have some kind of a rivalry going on. Is that true?
Actually, yes, it is. And speaking of rivalries, I want to talk to you about the main event on Turbulence that day. See, there has also been going on a rivalry with not just me and Sean, but there's other people in Turbulence that have rivalries, such as Red and Danny. Now, Red and Danny Boy, they've been having a feud, and from what I've heard, it's been going on for a long time. I mean, it's them, and it's not only them, but it's the Blackhearts and Danny Boy's tag team, which is Southern Comfort. Now, there's been stuff that's been going on that, like, for example, Danny's tag partner just completely disappeared. Nowhere to be seen. And that raised a lot of questions. But then, they went to go ask the Blackhearts on what happened, but then the Blackhearts, they just laughed at that and they just walked away, which it's kind of mean to do, but hey, you do what you have to do. But then, following up to the show, it was Red versus Danny Boy. Now, they had a pretty good match from what I saw. But then, Danny Boy got DQ'd, but the reason why he got DQ'd is because Dave Mack ran in and attacked Red first, but then he went after Danny Boy. Now, Dave Mack was sitting there, he was all gloating and everything, saying he's the best in the world. But then Danny Boy got up and he attacked Dave Mack. Now we're seeing something that's going on here.
Well, I, for one, can't wait to see what happens next week at Turbulence when Red versus Dave McLanata. Well,
the only way to find out that, plus so much more, is to tune in on Tuesday for VAW's Elite at 5 p.m. SLT and Thursday's VAW's Turbulence, the show I work on, at 3 p.m. SLT. I am Tyler Corbis, alongside
Alex Xavier Heaney, and we both thank you for watching Flashback.